Hi, y'all. Welcome back to the saloon. It's been a while. Man, I've been busy. I'm telling you. I'm back gigging pretty strong nowadays, and I just hadn't had time to get back to the saloon and film one. Played a gig in Charlotte, North Carolina tonight, right after I came to the saloon. Started smoking and drinking and thinking about my friend Randy Clemons. With the advent of social media, people can fake whatever they want to fake, and if it's on Facebook or Instagram, it must be real. Well, that's the way I felt when I met Randy Clemons. I have to say, back in 2006, I guess it was, in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I met Randy, and man, I acted like an asshole to him because he said that he found Tampa Red's guitar. I thought that was crazy. This guy had to be just talking shit. So let's rewind a bit. Around 2005 to 2007, I started playing a lot in Oklahoma City, in Oklahoma, and played a little club there. And there was a district called the Paseo District. It was the Paseo Arts District, and it was just like a little neighborhood where they had bars that really were catered to music and arts. There were art studios and whatnot. And there was a Paseo Music Festival that I started playing at with my band around that time. And that's when I met Randy Clemons, a lady named Diane Cody, who booked us for the festival and was just a big music lover. I met her, and she introduced me to Randy, who came out to one of my gigs in Oklahoma City. And I remember the first time I played the Paseo Music and Arts Festival. That's when I really got to talk to Randy, and he told me that he bought Tampa Red's National Steel guitar. And you hear all kinds of things out here doing this, and people run their mouths, and half of it, all of it ain't true. So anyway, I kind of acted like an asshole to Randy the first time I really got to talk to him, I just didn't believe what this guy was saying. There's no way that this guy found Tampa Red's guitar, but it turns out that he did find that guitar. So if you don't know who Tampa Red is, Tampa Red was basically the guy who, I don't want to say invented blues slide guitar, but he practically did, because everyone after him, you can hear his influence from Robert Nighthawk to Muddy Waters to Earl Hooker, and the list goes on and on and on. Tampa Red was amazing. I mean, even Robert Johnson, you can hear this stuff. Tampa Red was the guy, man. As far as slide guitar goes, Tampa Red was your man. He was your Huckleberry, all right? He recorded at least 300 songs under his own name, and I think he appeared on around 400 recordings of other artists that he played on their songs. A little information about Randy Clemons. Who is Randy Clemons? Well, Randy Clemons was a guy who was, kind of a novice guitar player until he found Tampa Red's guitar, really, because that really made him start going out and playing guitar in public. And he was a great guitar player. He played a 1928 National Square Neck Tricone. That's what his go-to guitar was after he sold Tampa's guitar. If you go on YouTube and type in Randy Clemons, I'm sure it'll come up some videos from the Paseo Arts Festival. But anyway, Randy took it upon himself back in the 70s and the early 80s to go after vintage instruments. And that was a hell of a time to do that, because you could get them at a good price. And he especially went after metal body guitars, National, Dobro, that kind of stuff, resonators. these Nationals, these metal resonators, the Regals, all that stuff, Dobro. Nobody wanted them in the 70s and 80s. People were into solid state amps, and that stuff was, you could get those guitars super, super cheap. Nobody wanted them. And that's what brings us to this Tampa Red story. Randy got a call from a lady one day who said that she had a metal body guitar that she couldn't unload for even $65. No one would pay it. When Randy asked what the brand of the guitar was, she said, well, it just says Tampa Red on it. So I guess she thought it was a Tampa Red model. Well, it turns out it was. When Randy went to, I think it was a trailer park, to check out this guitar, he started looking over it, and the thing was pretty corroded and green from the corrosion, and it just needed to be polished really, really bad. But on the back of it, it had Tampa Red's signature chrysanthemum, and it started kind of striking a chord with Randy that, hey, this could be the guitar. He took it home, and after several weeks of polishing it over and over again, he got to the real finish of the guitar, which was like a metal silver finish. Now, why is that significant? Because it was always said that Tampa Red played a gold National Steel guitar, okay? So Randy took it to an expert, and the guy, looked it over and figured out that, yes, this was Tampa Red's guitar. Now, a little funny side note for you guitar players out there. This guitar had the National body, but someone along the way who had gotten a hold of this guitar before this lady had it, who had no idea what it was, had taken the neck off of it or replaced the neck with a silver tone electric guitar neck. Once the guitar was verified as being Tampa Red's, Randy sold it for $85,000 to Washington's Experience Music Project. Randy ended up on television shows with the guitar. Grun Guitars in Nashville calls this guitar the most significant National Steel guitar in existence. I think he even went and met Dan Aykroyd and hung out with him with the guitar, because Dan wanted it for his House of Blues chain. He wanted to display it in the House of Blues. And he even got to play with Chuck Berry, which he says that he never played hardly a note when he was playing with Chuck Berry. But he still got to play with Chuck Berry. You go figure that one out. Let's go back to, me meeting Randy and hearing about this guitar. He had a little guitar store in the Paseo Arts District. And, when we went back there one day in the back of it to smoke some of the devil's cabbage. And he started telling me about this Tampa Red story. And I just thought that, he was totally full of shit. Come on, man. You hear all kinds of stuff. And but it turns out I went home and researched it a little bit on the internet, and come to find out, I started finding articles about this cat, and that he was 100% telling the truth. The next time I went and played the Paseo Music Arts Festival, I had to apologize to Randy and say, man, I felt like such an asshole the way I acted towards you about this story. And he was such a humble, good guy, and just loved blues music and old music from the early 1900s. He had kind of dedicated himself to that stuff, and kind of a scholar. And he was kind of a scholar on that stuff. But he was such a nice guy, and he loved that I was playing the old deep blues, and he just brushed it off and was like, hey man, I'm a fan of yours, and what a great guy he was. We spent, every time I would go to Oklahoma City, I would see Randy. He'd come to my show, or I'd go to the guitar shop. This is the really nice part of the story. Randy told me that he went back to the trailer park, I think is where it was, that he bought this guitar from this lady who couldn't unload it for even $65. And he told me that he went back and gave her a pretty nice chunk of that $85,000 that he got off the guitar. And he also expressed that, he really didn't know how vicious the vintage guitar world could be until he had this guitar. And he probably could have sold it for twice as much as what he got for it. But I think a lot of that, in my personal opinion, could have been because it had a silver tone neck to it. I don't know. That's what Randy told me. You won't find that in any of the articles online or anything like that. It doesn't mention that it had a silver tone guitar neck. But, hey, I heard it from the horse's mouth, okay? The last time I got to see Randy was around 2012 when I played the Paseo Arts Festival. I was on a little mini tourlet. I'd come back out that way from North Carolina. And he sadly passed away of cancer in 2015. So this episode is dedicated to you, Randy Clemons. You are a hell of a guy. And for a cat that just started out, let this resonate with you. A cat that just started out in the late 70s and the early 80s, on a whim decides, hey, I'm into vintage instruments, guitars. I want some metal body guitars. That's what I'm going to focus on. He just starts out and starts collecting some guitars. A couple of them, I think, is all he had, 4 or 5. And then he ends up getting Tampa Red's national guitar. I guess crazier things have happened, but have they? Oh, well, folks, it's good to have you back at the saloon. It's good to be back at the saloon, and, it's good to be busy again and out playing music for people, having good times. Speaking of good times, we got a lot of good times here on this channel, Matt Walsh Music. If you haven't already subscribed, go up there and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, maybe give us a comment or two. Tell us some things we can do better, or some things you'd like to see, or if you've been out there and watched me in the past, maybe you got a story that I don't even remember. Refresh me on it. Well, that's it for me. I guess I'm going to go out here and, I don't know, pick some old Tampa Red songs. Howdy mighty. See you next time at the saloon.